And that gives a really interesting masculine power to what he's going to bring forward that is like very usable. So I want you guys to welcome what his thing is about here. And this is really like possession and improvement of property is evidence of jurisdiction if you know that you are the will of the divine, if you know your beingness. So what Yona has is a system that actually works for this to specifically get you on property in groups where you can self-govern and begin to work on this. So this is the actionable stuff right now, and work on that stuff in your relationships. It is a powerful, powerful tool. So thank you all.
Nice! Are you guys ready?
Yeah!
Get you change your state a little bit. I'm going to say, show me the money.
Yeah.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
All right, I'm ready. Change your state. Doesn't that feel good? I've got a big head, big ears.
Big heart. Yo, give it up for Sterling. Woo!
Thank you, Sterling. Okay, I might as well just yell. I don't think this actually fits to the front of my face.
That's working.
Okay.
Leveraging your abundance. Rebecca brought that up, leveraging your abundance. I would like to show you how to leverage the abundance you already have. People are always like, I don't have $1 million to buy this property. I don't have $200,000 to buy a property. You know, and I don't see it that way. Like, I would like to show you the abundance you already have. We always speak of abundance and waiting and sort of like holding the intention to have. I'm like, you have it. You have it inside you. You have it right now. You have the tools. It's all there. You just didn't know you had it. So you don't have to wait anymore. Right, Anthony? It's about doing and being. So we're going to do some doing. My background, I bought my first house in '99, bought 2 more houses a year later with leverage. Leverage, right? You buy a house, it goes up, the market says, you know, bank says you can have 36,000 more, I take that 36,000, I go buy 2 more houses, leverage. You know, I'm going to speak a bit more about leverage. I invested in, years later, after I sold the first property I bought, invested in a 4-unit building, a new build, and a 10-unit, like green side, solar, beautiful, air vents, lost my ass on that, you know, just like 6 figures out the door, you know, and it was a great lesson. So I want to say that it's not all about, like, part of this learning process is always like, well, I just really suffered through that process, and I got some gems from it. You know, this is the road I'm taking now. The punchline, the book in the future, or whatever you want to call it, I bought 8 houses in 8 months last year, and I don't qualify for a bank loan. Okay, and I don't have 6 figures in the bank. I often don't have 5 figures in the bank. You know what I mean? Like, I did this, and the best way I can explain it is I just see the matrix. I see the flow of real estate and how to do it, you know? My background also, it was kind of mentioned, I'm a ex-Navy SEAL, a sniper, and someone asked me earlier today when I brought this up, she's like, I don't understand, my husband's a mortgage broker, like, how can you do that? Like, how can you have this? And, you know, like, what's your background? And it definitely has something to do with it, like the function, the changing your state, changing your mental state. In the SEAL teams, we learn to think outside of the box. You know, be outside of the box. Like, this is your life. Like, you can make a choice. You can go stand in a certain area and be in a certain game and say, well, if I play this game in this way, I may or may not win. No, it's your life. And you're going to make some really important and interesting decisions in order to see every possible solution to your situation. And I do that every day. I drive my family here nuts sometimes because we're playing a game, and I turn it into an opportunity to think outside of the box. You know, what's the throw the balls on the lawn thing? Bocce, you know, like I see the last person step up here, and everybody goes, and then I go, and then I cheat. Everybody calls it cheating, but it's not cheating. It's like there's rules. Or, it's really close, and instead I just sort of fall into it, and I don't let my feet leave the ground as long as your feet were there. Like, there's another way to do it. And everybody is playing inside the rules. Like, I'm going to call my boy Tim Clark out. Tim Clark. I've been helping him find some property, and as I'm going to teach you guys as we go through this, thinking out of this side of the box is really important. He went through the process. We found him a beautiful property, 3 units. He could live in 1 unit, rent the others out, live there for free, pool, 2.5 acres, well, all this stuff. And the process, he went through the steps. He got to the first step, go to the bank, ask how much you're worth, and they're like, here, you're worth this much. It's like, oh man, I'm 100 grand short. Like, that, I'm short. Like, everybody, like, nobody's got that. You're not short. There's so many directions to get this. There's so many roads you can do this. And don't just trust that I need to go to a bank, have 20% down, get a loan in order to get this, get cash in order to get this. So I want to show you some of those steps. Okay? Emerald Village. 9 acres, 250 trees, 4 houses, well, 2 creeks, privacy, 910,000. That's what we did. We each put in about 11 grand. Seller carried loan for 5% interest only. I'm going to tell you about that later. And I'm not going to be able to take a lot of questions because we're on the timeline, but I'll pass this around, and if you put your name and email down, I'm going to email you this. I'm going to email you another document that I created for friends who have questions. And all this will be on it. You can always email me, and I do this as service so far, as a gift to my community, because I want them to have these spaces. Our monthly rent is $800 a piece. That's mortgages, taxes, insurance, utilities, cushion for broken pipes, all that, $800 a month. And that's only 8 of 10 members. We get everybody, maybe it's $650. $650 a month. $650 a person per month to have everything fully cushioned in this property. $910,000 is what they sold it for. I think most of you can do that, and most of you can make that. And I also want to let you know, like, that's the minimum I'm going to be asking for people, is to, like, go ahead and, like, find that zone of what you can make, and then what are the other possibilities. And I'll show you, you could do so much. You could have events, you could have an orchard, you could make money. But first, like, we're going to go with, this is what you need to make every month. If you're just on your massage schedule and you're just making money as you do, you can do it. You can have $1 million property for $650 to $800 a month. All right, go forward. Love your money. It's a new slide for me. I think money gets a bad rap. Money's a tool. Money is a hammer. Money is a chainsaw. Money is a gun, right? Guns get a bad rap. You can hate the gun. You can have fear of the gun. Hate fear. If you're not loving or neutral to these objects, to these things, like, it's just fear. But if you can love the gun, if you can respect the gun, it's a tool. It's a different state. Money as well. You can be neutral or loving towards money and have a different view of it completely. I sold my first house, took 5 years off. Burner, DJ guy, DJ Eurotrash. Anybody remember DJ Eurotrash? Pennies? That was a time. Traveled the world, sailboat, dreadlocks, like, removed myself from the money game and just got some freedom. Like, this is not, there's a different level to play at. And I took that time, and I believe that time helped me get out of the crunch and just see this flow of money as, so I lost 90 grand on a real estate deal. Maybe I'll get it back. I'm still friends with the guys that dumped that cash. You know what? And I still love them. I still go see them. I fly all the way out to the East Coast and talk to them. Like, all right, you'll work it out. Like, it's probably going to work out. There's no other option. But I'm not attached to the process of, like, the money. It comes and it goes. But I have just a love and respect for the process. It is a process. Money is a tool and it's a process. And we all sort of get hung up on, you know, all this stuff about money. But it really is just, I really think of it as zeros and ones. I don't even think of it as money. And I'm going to show you a bit about that later. Leverage your money. I love money. Can everybody say, I love money? I love money! Yeah, it's not so bad. You gotta love everything else. You might as well love money. Leverage your money, you know? So that's what I was talking about, leveraging your money. You know, you buy you buy this property, $910,000. We got on a seller carried loan. The seller said, you know, all right, you don't have a bank, we'll carry that loan for you. You just put a little bit of money down. I'm going to leverage it. We moved on, $910,000 in, we have 3 years to pay this loan off or, you know, get a new loan. It was appraised at a year ago, 1.1 million. So there's already equity there, but he can only sell it for 900. So as soon as we bought it, it may be worth 1.1. But we get on it, we put a year's hard work into it, kitchens, vibe, da-da-da. 1 year later, we can reappraise the property, have some coming out, and they're like, oh, your property's worth 1.3 million. I go to the bank and I say, hey, I bought this for 910. We actually put a little bit of money in, so it's 800,000 is left on the loan. You know, 1.2 million is $400,000 to play with there. You know, and that's how we're basically, I'm gonna show you about the finance later, but that's how we're gonna be able to say to the bank and refinance out of it, is basically say, hey, I know you banks want your 20% down. Now, we've leveraged. 1 year, we played some tricks. I talked to the seller, I moved some stuff around, said, hey, look at us, there's 10 of us, we can afford $650 a month, you wanna give it to us? Like, all right, we'll give it to you. I don't like all the other deals I'm getting. Like, yeah, we'll pay a good price for it. Leverage that money, and then in a year, we can go to the bank and say, okay, it's worth 1.2 million, and they'll say, okay, well now you own 30% of the property, so I'll give you the rest of the money, pay him off. And so I didn't need to come up with 30% of the money. I didn't need to find $300,000 or some unrealistic number, you know? We just came up with an amount we could find, like, hey, do you want to sell it to us? Or you want to give it to the developer who owns all this and is pretty much trying to screw you with it? And like, he's tired. It's a negotiation. It's a game. Like, it's a game. And you go in there and you know he's tired and you play with it. And he's like, you know, I was sitting there on the phone with the realtor when he came back to the car, and he's like, yeah, I don't know. He was kind of, and I'm like, I have a good feeling about this. He walks, he's like, hold on. He walks the car, and I listen to him. He's like, let's just give it to them. Like, they're good people. They want the place. They'll take care of it. Like, he's done with it, you know? Because he sold 15 other properties that Patty had, you know, and this was the last one. He's a tax attorney. Next, please. Community is sustainable. So that's part of the beauty. I do this, these 8 houses. Some of these houses that I bought, 3 properties, this including, you know, I buy as an investment. I have 6 other houses, you know, as just sort of my retirement. You know, put them on 15-year loans. I'll be 53, have a bunch of houses that are fully paid off. The rent's just paying for them. And I can just keep doing what I love to do and not do what I have to do. Community even makes it more sustainable. There's houses, I'm telling you, there's houses you can go out there, live in one unit. All the houses that I have, all the doubles that I have, duplexes, I could go at any moment right now, go live in one, rent the other one, and I live for free. And I can show you guys that all over Sandy. I could practically throw a dart at the board. And that's going to be like that for at least the next 2 years. So you could, you know, there's almost no reason you can't make it work. But in community, you have so much more you can work with, so much more size and ability, and you're, you know, getting your rents down to $650 a month is totally possible. So you're able to buy property, you work together. I don't know if you guys remember cooperation versus competition from Gayatri yesterday. The cost of owning one house from 1 to 2 people is a lot more expensive than 6 to 8 people owning this land. And buying now freezes your rent forever, right? Like, I don't know if you remember, the first house I bought, I rented a place near Hillcrest, $750. A year later, the 2-bedroom apartment next door is $1,100. I'm like, I won't be able to keep up with this. 1 year, $750 to $1,100. You know, you go and check in on that $750 apartment in Hillcrest in this market right now, it's close to 2,000, you know, it's ridiculous. Buying now, I'm gonna freeze my rate at somewhere between 650 to 800 for the rest of my life. And if I buy it as an investment, I'm gonna freeze that mortgage till the end of the loan, 15 to 30 years, and then I own it free and outright. And all that money, including inflation, you know, people rent, we rent our own property, including inflation, those people rent. And right now, maybe I make, let's say, 400 per house on top of the mortgage. In 20 years, you know, so it maybe cost me $2,000 for the house now, and I get $2,400 in rent or something like that. The rents will be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in 30 years, right? But I'm still paying the either $2,400. It freezes it right now. So if you're ever like having trouble keeping up with it, like you want to stop your inflation, buy. Next one. All right, so we're going to go to finance. It may be a little bit of a mystery. You can always come and talk to me later, send me an email. I'm going to cruise through it because we're on time constraints. Secure your financing first. Go to the bank. Figure out what you can do. You know, put the forms in. Like, just talk to your community members. Like, what are we worth? You know, what can we do? That's hard sometimes for community members. Trust me. Like, people who, you know, to sit together with 10 people and be like, well, what do you have? Like, what are you worth? Someone's, you know, it's best sometimes to pick one person and say, all right, you look at all the paperwork. All right, this is what we go to a mortgage broker. You go to a bank. You go to somebody and say, you know, what are we worth? Just try it. It's only a phone call. It's only effort. It's only doing. But we have so much difficulty in doing. How many people are like, you know, this next year I'm going to do this. Just do it tomorrow. Gather community statements. That's everybody's paperwork, your bank statements. Get an approval letter from a bank saying you're qualified for a certain amount. It doesn't mean that's what you're going with. Doesn't mean that's the road. But then you know. And you may not know what you're worth. You know, like, oh my God, this bank wants to give us, they'll give us for all of our statements. We have 4 people. For us, it was like, for this $1 million property, they're like, give me 4 people that make $50,000 a year and that can give me 2 years of tax statements. Like, can you do that? Or, that was actually difficult, but not too difficult. It was like, all right, for $1 million, I just need 4 people to make $50,000. And that was sort of the thing. Don't listen to those numbers. Like, don't take that as like, I don't want anybody to walk away from anything and be like, well, he said this, and that doesn't apply to me. I can't make that. Like, bring it in, you know? Banks may want several people to qualify. I just said that. Next. Community owned. Did you wish to buy a property and then rent the rooms? You know, do you want to have this amazing space? What if I came in here and bought this property, rented to my friends? You know, have community. But without the ownership, well, I'll tell you what, I'll have control, and the amazing amount of time we spend in meetings and communicating about whether or not a bush is allowed to come out of the ground or not might end, you know. But would this $100,000 kitchen show up if Yona's property, you know? Would people have this vibration to say, hey, Yona's got this cool little thing going on? You know, would that have shown up? Would all this have shown up? Would all this like juicy energy from each of the members, you know, Jessica, Amy, Rebecca's art, C-Love's finance, Sean's building and building, Kyle's love, like all this ability from all these people, when they own this, it's like, this is my piece of the pie, this is my land, I'm gonna put it into it. And that's where I'd really like to offer to you guys. You're gonna see and be so much more. You know, it's an opportunity to grow past what you know, to build past what you can dream yourself. You know, dream is a collective, and get the collective help to build your dream and everybody else's. Next. Rising interest rates. So $1 million loan, 30-year, 10% down, 30-year loan, 10% down with tax and insurance at 5%. This sort of average is actually lower now, 3.75%. But that's about $6,000 a month, to give you an idea. $6,000 a month to make your nut, as they say. Right now, we got even lower rates than that. At 7%, at 10%, $9,000 a month. At 15%, 12%. So at 15%, just imagine you can either have half the property or pay twice as much, you know? Rates in the 80s went to 18%. My mother had that loan, right? I don't know if you remember, but in Texas, 18%. You're like, 18%? This has been low for a long time. Well, it's not going to be forever. And now with the housing rate's so low, interest rate's so low, it's time to do and be. It's not time just to like say next year. Buy what you can afford. Don't buy a property knowing that you're going to build a business. Don't buy. I highly recommend everybody. You know, you come here, buy $1 million property, and it's $800 a month. You buy a $3 million property, and you definitely need to make more money every month. And everybody comes in, and I see it all the time. They're like, you know what? I'm going to have a business. I'm going to grow something. I'm going to grow anything. I'm going to like make money happen, have events. But you need to have it. Like, look at what you can have right now. All this, it's enough. You can have more, but it's enough. You know, and you can build from there. You know, speaking about the leverage, what happens when I'm worth, are worth $300,000 more in this property with the, you know, with the equity? You know, we go to the bank. I can take that $300,000, get a $3 million loan, like that. I can do that, and then that whole side of the mountain is ours. You know, you can grow from there and leave yourself room to grow, but don't, you know. Don't come in and set yourself up for failure. You can all afford $800 a month, you know. And if you can't, you can help each other, right? And if you can't, $50 for a weekend party for 200 friends. What is that?
$1,000.
$10,000. $10,000, $50, you know, $50 from your friends to have a weekend party. You know, that's one idea. That's a simple thing. We do that all the time, you know, but hey, come and you could do so much more. You could have this once a month, you know, or something like that, and just hold space. It could be anything, but you have ideas to grow, you have ideas to support, but be able to initially do your $800 a month and then build from there. I'll take that $10,000 and say, build the new space, you know, build the new pool, the new sauna that we're building. Like, do something to improve the land, but don't depend on holding down a $3 or $4 million loan. Types of loans, I'll breeze through this. Next, FHA loan. So most of you might have known you have to think that you have to get 20 or 25% down, 30% down from a bank for a loan. FHA allow first-time home buyers put down as little as 3.5%. San Diego FHA limits for a 4-family property, 1.3 million, right? 3.5%. 3.5% of 1 million is 35,000. 35,000 divided by 10 is 3,500. 3,500 bucks. If you get an FHA loan, which we were close to doing, but we did this deal really quick, 3,500 bucks from each person to come forward and have this for this $1 million property. You know, if you go and get an FHA loan. And I also want a presence, I love all the words, I want a presence at this moment that we did come in with $11,000 a person. And as a 10-member community, it processed the hell out of people. Like, where are we going to get $11,000 a person? Not everybody has it, and everybody wants to come in. Well, trusting and sitting in that space, and you know, you go to your parents or your friends or your family, and you're like, I've never done this before, but look at this great plan we have. Look at this property. Look at how much it's worth. Look at the potential. Look at our friends out at Emerald Village who are supporting us in doing this and what they're doing in such a short amount of time, you know, and it was just surprising. It all came in, you know, all the money came in. Families showed up. Everybody's like, that sounds like an amazing plan, you know, maybe a better plan than you're like, when your family watch you go backpacking for a year, you know, they're like, all right, I want to support you in this, you know, so you don't even need the money. You don't need to have the money. If you don't have the money or the credit or the whatever, like, there are 100 roads to get there, so don't just stop there. Home Path program allows borrowers to purchase a Fannie Mae owned property, the same thing that we saw before, but low down payment, flexible mortgage, no lender requested appraisal, no mortgage insurance available for primary residence. So it's basically a website, and so Fannie Mae has most of your loans, they buy all the loans, banks, you know, Fannie Mae buys it from all the banks, and they have all these houses. Well, nobody's living in them. They're just sitting and dying. So they basically just created like a program, like, here's a website. We want you to have these, and we'll give you great deals. We just want to see that, like, you can manage it, because they see as well, like, who can't afford their $800 a month? Like, let's just get them in these houses at these prices. Like, it's better than sitting there. Next. The HUD 203 is an offshoot of that, but they're going to give you a fixer-upper. They're going to, like, here you go. Like, here's a fixer-upper, and here's 40 grand to fix it. Like, we know there's a bunch of shitty properties on the list here, and so we'll take it another level and give you the money to fix it. Let me take questions after. Just try to keep it. VA loan. I'm a veteran. If you know a veteran, you know, pull some veteran in. Anybody who names some Katya, Mario Stilgar, any other veterans we know? Hoop Charmer. Anybody else? I guess I know them all. Huh? Chris Hansen. Like, if you know a veteran, they can borrow $750,000, 1.1 million on a VA loan with multiple units for nothing down. You know, I can go out right now and say, I want this property for $1 million. I'll show you that I can rent it out at a proper price. Will you give it to me? And they will, they'll give me the whole amount. And basically the VA shows the bank, say, hey, if this guy's defaults on it, we'll pay you that 20%. You know, we'll give you that $200,000 to the bank. And so they're covered. They're like, sweet, that's your 20%. So pull one of them on board. You know, there's different options. Next slide. My favorite, seller carried loan. What we have here, seller finances all are part of the loan, right? You go, you're like, hey, your grandma died. She had this beautiful property. We don't know what to do with it. We're kind of over it. We live in Wisconsin. Like, we just want to, like, no, it's been a year. We're willing to rent it out or something. Someone may carry the loan for you. You don't have to go through a bank. Can negotiate interest, type of payments, length, down payment. And that's a doing thing right there. Can negotiate. In every situation, you can negotiate, you know? So I'll tell you, try to quickly tell you the situation here. I call the property, I come out here, I meet the realtor, and there's a negotiation process. And I'd love to help you guys if I can, but there's the matrix here. So you're talking to the realtor, and he's like, so what's your deal? I was like, this is what we can do, and I'd like this property. And I'm like, talking to him, he's like, you don't have a realtor? And I see in his mind, he's like, every realtor, the money, whether they get 3% or they get 5 to 6%, that money is going to come, that 5 to 6% goes to 2 realtors, or it all goes to 1. So he's looking at me like, so you don't have a realtor? I was like, nope, I don't have a realtor. You know, I'm considering options. And sitting through the process, and the process with him was, well, I'm like, and I'm very forward. I'm like, well, you know, what do I need to come in at? You know, what would get me this property? He's like, oh, I can't answer that. I was like, you know, I see that he's at least a legal realtor. He's following the system. I was like, well, I really like the property. And he's like, we had talked a little bit about representation. I was like, well, I want the property, but I don't really know. You know, he told me about himself. I was like, I don't really know, you know, if you can be my realtor, if you're the best representation for me. So tell me, if you were my realtor, what would you ask me to come in at? At least 900,000, you know? I was like, all right, I think I can work with this, you know? Go back a day later, I call everybody. I was like, hey, this is the property. That's 20 days after revision, which I'll talk about in a second. And told everybody, hey, we got to make a decision now. Like, it's time. That's part of the doing. If you want to see process, you have trouble like coming up with a few $100 for an event. I'm like, hey guys, 11 grand in 20 days. You ready? We're doing it. Well, we were just envisioning meetings. Like, how many things have you been to where you're like, well, this is vision circle? No, this is doing circle. Like, you put it out there. I did my best. This is what I do. Like, brought it in. Bam, here it is. Like, it's time to make a decision. Amy Saloner. Like, what do you mean? Like, really? Is there a space for me? Like, there's only 4 houses. And we're like, you got to say yes. You know, we can take it off in 2 weeks. We can give it back. But you got to say yes in order to close this deal up. So they said yes. We moved on. You know, I think 3 or 4 days later, we got an accepted offer through other negotiation processes. But part of the negotiation, I also told them, like, hey, like, I want a good deal. We negotiated down, seller carried loan, 5% interest only, so we don't have to pay as much. 3 years. He's like, in 3 years, I want you to pay out. And that gives me the option to get another loan or figure something else out or renegotiate the contract. But you can ask for all these things. Don't just sit there and like, what's the deal? Be like, you know, I want this place for less. Well, he doesn't want to sell it for less. Well, I want you to fix this road. You know, I want you to fix the plumbing. I want the irrigation water to come through here and feed these houses when I want on my choice. That's going to cost you 20, 30,000. Like, the city is, you know, like, you negotiate the process. I'm going to make up that money somehow, and that guy is going to feel better because he had a hard line. He's like, no, 900,000 is my line, you know, or whatever. Like, figure out what they want, where their soft spot is, you know, or just realize that 910,000 and whatever is a great deal for this property. You don't always need to be like, I almost, maybe I should let this deal go. That was my process last year. It was like 8 houses in 8 months is not letting go. It was like, you know what? If I can do it, yes, I'll take it. And that was just an amazing lesson. Business partners, people who were along with the ride with me were like, I can't do it this quick. And I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, you can't do it yourself. And I did it myself. You know, I was like, screw it. Hard money lender, I don't qualify for a bank, 11%. Excuse me, I need 100 grand. He's like, put 60% down. No. I can't. I'll put 30% down. Put more. I was like, look, if you want to get this loan with me, 11%, the most I can do is 40%. Let's make it together. Bam, 2 houses, 175,000. You know, like positive cash flow, 1,000 a month on that property. And in a year, when I got all my finances squared away, I refinanced out of there. Also on the seller carried loan, possible to get a horrible deal. You know, so you can talk to, there's people out there, rent to own and stuff like that. So if you're not good at it, if you don't have representation, ask somebody. It's a possibility you're going to get a great deal. You know, they live in Wisconsin. They don't really, you know, they're like, cool, what do you want? Oh, we don't really need much of a percentage. We're just happy to get the money every month. Sweet. You know, 1%, a token percent, whatever. Make yourself a great deal, but you can also get screwed. Someone could just lock you in a shitty contract. So get yourself some representation and read the contract. Next, please. Visioning your property. So I wanted to go through the finance first and come to the juicy stuff. Gather your clan, write out your dreams, dream big, right? Ensure your visions are in alignment. You know, as we came into the circle and vision, are we in alignment? Do we, after we vision this property, does somebody want to throw, you know, is one of the person a filmmaker and wants to film porn on the property, and the other person wants to open a Waldorf school on the property? You know what I mean? Like, are you in alignment? Maybe you are. Like, that's the fun thing. Like, getting our group together and it's like, you know, we live for celebration, but we also honor and respect spirit and the land. You know, we want to celebrate. We want to party a little bit sometimes, but we also like have other things. So can we manage this? Can we do it all? Yes, I think we can. Don't overplan and leave room to grow. You know, just be like, don't lock it. When you get in there, don't say like, we, in this short time period, you know, vision the property, 20 days later find the property, 3 days later accepted offer, and 2 months later you own it. 3 months or so for the process is a little quick, but believe that you can do it, but leave yourself room to grow. Like, we don't know exactly what we're doing. We don't know what the big vision is. We don't know if this is going to turn into Harbin Hot Springs, but just set yourself, you know, set yourself some room to be like, you know, we can be that, but we also, what do we really respect? For me, it was like, I need this to be my home. If it turns into not being my home, if this is Harbin Hot Springs and I don't feel like I'm just in my home, then I may be time to move on. And we created contracts that said like how we can do that, how I can move on, you know, how anybody can move on. And trust is such a big lesson here. You know, this book right here, Creating a Life Together, it'll be on this thing, and if you send me, I'll send you an email if you put your email, but you know, trust is like, they're saying like, hey, this one guy in here is, you know, 40 years later after they started this community, he's the only person left, and they didn't do the operating agreements correctly, and now this guy, because they said everybody needs to agree, he's an old geezer now, and he's just like, screw it, I don't like anything you're doing, and they could never move anywhere, they could never get any growth, you know, so, you know, that's the fear side of it, create good operating agreements, but the trust side is, in 3 months, do you think the 10 of us could really figure all this out? No. Like, understand the vibration? Know that this is going to be okay? No, there's a trust factor. I trust that if I'm not getting my way on this property, if I really want to have something happen and 7 other members don't, that I trust that the bigger vision is higher than I can create for myself. You know what I mean? The bigger vision is going to be supported. And so I don't have attachment to it. I may have some attachment to it, to be honest with you. But, you know, in general, like, could I have created all this? Could I have made all this happen and have all you beautiful people here if it was just me and my vision and my control? No, I trusted in our community to, like, be their best. And it's bringing so much abundance. Next, please. Time to get clear on what you want. Right? What do you want? Are you ready to do? Yes. Are you ready to be and do? Yes. I hope so, because that's what it takes. You know, and like 3 months and then moving on the property, I'm digging ditches, I'm working. Like 3 weeks I've been here working nonstop. You know, there's a lot of doing, there's a lot of raking, a lot of, just on a regular basis, there's a lot of work. Right, Don? A lot of work?
Oh yeah.
A lot of work when you get your property. It's not your condo. This is work. So be clear what you want. Maybe you want the 4 condos and you don't want to mow everything all the time. You can have that. Maybe you want the industrial building and like gardens in the middle and brick and like businesses downstairs and like pool inside, like sound systems, the old Space Island 3.0 or something. You can have that. Just be clear on what you want. Vision exercise. So we did a vision exercise. Bianca led us through writing out our desires on Post-it notes, reading them aloud, placing them on a wall, no repeating. Basically, like if I say I want a pool and Kyle says he wants a pool, when we go through and I've written my stack and each person reads them off, Kyle said he wants a pool, I trash my pool, it's already on there. We post it all on a board. Organized into categories, like this is, spiritual, this is business related, this is infrastructure, what do you want? And see where you're similar and where your desires might not work. What a great exercise to actually know, like, are you producing porn or having a school? You know, like, okay, we actually do want this. And you're setting your intention, right? We talk about it, but we're setting it. We actually put it out there. We wrote it on paper and said, this is what we want. And, you know, you can bring it in from spirit is supporting my intention, or you know what? We said we want pygmy goats. Like, you know, we're gonna make it happen. And we speak to our friends and we're like, yeah, it's funny, we wanted these like small animal farm here. You know, like, hey, I know somebody that's trying to get rid of a small animal farm, you know, and that stuff starts happening. We wanted the Pro Kitchen. It was on the list, you know, and Bianca called it in. It's like, well, Chef B's got this stuff sitting in the desert outside. He can't store it. Like, he's not around. Like, he needs a place for it to be. You know, like, that's how it works. We put it out there. Next, please. No, sir. No, we were like running behind. Yeah. It's important, right, guys? Yeah. Yeah. So there's the thing. These were our notes. These were our Post-its, you know. Space for elders, barn space, galactic megaphone, trees, dream big, stream or lake. I didn't think we could have a stream or a creek on a property in San Diego and all this space and no neighbors and all that kind of stuff. 2 creeks, like, it just doesn't really happen. Next, please. Finding your property. Using the internet to find your home will be most efficient. So, here's some sites. Redfin's my favorite. West Coast, DC, Austin. For most of you, West Coast, Denver, all of this. I found you guys properties in Denver, Portland, here, Monterey, Santa Cruz, all on Redfin. I love it. Next, please. 5 things to look for online. This is what I look for. You know, acreage and privacy, the amount of units, the kind of zoning on it, which gets a little thick, but zoning meaning, you know, can you have agriculture? Can you have horses? Or are you allowed to build more units? You know, and we checked. We go to the county and they're like, yeah, you can build another house here. You've got enough acres or not. Like, don't buy yourself a 2-unit place and you need 5 units and then not be able to think you can grow into it, and then you're stuck in this weird situation. Price changes. I look for price changes. Like, how much are they? It's been on the market 180 days and they're cutting it every 2 weeks. You know, I'm like, okay, they're ready to deal. Like, where can I go? Well water. It's important to me. Might not be important to you, but when it all ends, like, I got my well. Next, what are some things you want in a property? You know, you want acres, wells, bedrooms, multi-units. Next, I'm cruising through this. Okay, the properties. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to beam through these and then I'm going to take you to the actual listings. Vista, 7-bed with the basement. So in the neighborhood, 7-bed, seller carried loan. So you guys can have this place. The seller will carry the loan. Sold in March for 460, and now they're listing for 850. That tells me it's probably a developer or something. He upped the price too much. There's room to, but there's room to negotiate, right? Yeah. Or it may be worth 850. I don't know. What's it worth to you? Julian, 7-bed, another rent to own. Another great opportunity. Multiple units. I'll show you in a second. I just wanted to show you 2 places in San Diego seller carried. Like, you don't need to go to a bank. It's out there. Ramona, look at that place. Large, big living room. South Monterey Vineyard, same price as this. Santa Cruz, a little more expensive, but look at that big. This is like the group space. The house is beautiful. I'll show you. Oregon, 500,000. This is like big pro kitchens inside, huge meeting spaces. They run retreats here, stuff like that. This guy's been in magazines. This is like this beautiful forest lodge, same price as this. You know, dream big, right? You could get the condo, or you could just have something. I'm going to show you something that I wish we had at the end of this. Our last slide is going to be stunning, and same price as this, and
Still have it.
I can still have it. And I think about it today, trust me. Colorado, this place is pretty cool. Big open spaces. Lloyd Wright, Earth Sheltered Home, $795. There's that Evergreen, Colorado, close to Denver. And this is the place down the road. 6-bed, 25 acres, no neighbors, gorgeous view. You can own the whole mountainside if you want. 1.2 million. This is your view. Beautiful house too. So, sorry I got to rush through it, but I am going to show you quickly the process. So, I go to redfin.com. Here's that first place, 850, right? Came up from 400 and something thousand. So the things I look for, I go down here. 6 beds, okay. Some acreage right there. 1965, a little older. 165 days in the market. Room to negotiate. Excellent opportunity for the growing family or investor. This one-of-a-kind flag opportunity allows unlimited possibilities. Primary residence offers 4 bedrooms. And then I go down, basement, you can do a lot with a basement. Granny flat, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, that's 6 bedrooms. So you have a second space, right? You got 2 full houses and 6 bedrooms so far. And then also another granny flat, second guest house with 1,100 square feet. That's twice the size of my place. That's 7 bedrooms. Even though it says 6, they're only legally allowed to say 6 for some reason. And they're only allowed to legally sell it at a price that is 6 bedrooms, but you already got 7 right here, and I bet you there's more. So I go through that property, you know, I look through it. At the end, seller will carry financing at a competitive interest rate. You know, all those things, like, okay, that's great. I go down here, I look at utilities, water, no well, septic, all right. Keep cruising through, and I go to the bottom, and then you get a map, G-map, right? So you look through, I'm like, all right, so there's the map, there's the property. Looks like they got some RVs, some other space, pool, tennis courts. They got lots of room, and it's pretty urban, right? It's right in town, but maybe people want that. They need to be close to the job. They need to have school. They don't want to commute for an hour, like, but they still want some space. You know, you kind of like, then I balance out on all these properties. This takes me about less than 60 seconds on all the properties. You balance out, and then you see, shit, I'm right in the middle of the neighborhood. Is that what you want, or is it not what you want? Next one, I just want to show you if anybody's in San Diego, 500,000, another seller carried loan. I won't go through it, but it's right there. That's a great price. 500,000, guys, equals, let's see, 500,000, just to give you an idea. There you go. 500,000, 3,000 a month. Taxes, insurance, mortgage. So 3,000 a month for that place, you know. I think, you know, you get however many people, 6 people together, $500 a month. So we'll skip over that, go to the pretty stuff, the motivating stuff. 900,000, I go through here, click on there, and show you some of these photos. So this is sort of real estate porn. This is what I do. I want to show you guys, get you motivated with the end.
Real estate.
This is in Ramona. All this house, all this stuff comes with it. The TVs, you know.
I'll go back.
There's your kitchen space, tiles. You're like, okay, it's a new. I think this is 2002. It says on the left, 143 days on the listing. You know, nice place, your own screening room. You know, you can read all the juju about the place, but it's you know, pool, hot tub, crucial, Rangers. Next place. So that kind of leaves with San Diego. I got lots more in San Diego, but those are some of the highlights. South Monterey. Anybody like, I don't know, Monterey? Anybody in that area? All right. Up for that. So this is a vineyard, 40 acres. Beautiful open vineyard with, you know, beautiful house, hot tub, all this. You got 40 acres. You're open. You don't have neighbors. You know what I mean? And you have a vineyard that's yours if you're ready to like grow. It's going. If you want to like make a business out of it, but it's $1 million. You can live there without needing to have the business, and the business is a bonus. Like keep it in that sense. So we move up to Santa Cruz, 1.5, a little more expensive. I found this. You guys know Anna Reichenbach?
Yes.
She was kind of considering, you know, people come here and get inspired. So this place, you know, she asked, she's like, this is what I want. This is what I need. I need this massive like indoor workspace to do hoop workshops and whatever. You know, and it just to be beautiful. And this place is multiple units, something like 3 units. You know, when I say units, the main house may have 4 or 5 bedrooms. Maybe like, you know, some people live together. You know, maybe the kids and the families get to live in the smaller places off to the side. Office spaces, gardens, you know, that's a bedroom. That's not just like a yoga studio. It's like, it's a beautiful amount of space. You know, look at all this woodwork. And at the end, you have this like, huge indoor studio to have events, kitchen, do whatever you need to do. And this is totally available to you. You know what I mean? It's not like out of your reach. It's not something, you know, I hope you guys get out of the mind frame of like, I can't have that. Because you can. If you sat with me and were really serious, I'd hold your hands for as long as I could. Because I want you to have it. Until I don't have the time anymore, you know? And then there's a consulting fee, because I don't know, a gift fee. You got to come here, work 200 hours, and then take it the next step. You know? Work trade. So just that was the kitchen. This is Oregon. You know, you have all this space. It looks like that right now, but you can do so much more. I think Kyle's trying to tell me to hurry up. This space, $1 million. Where is this, guys? This is in Oregon as well. You know, your lodge, your room, your hosting space, just beautiful spaces for the same deal as this. You know, $800 a month, and they've been in magazines. It's an artistic beauty. You know, and all this is yours for the same situation. You know, this is totally available to you. Totally available to you. I won't go to Evergreen, Colorado, cute one, 3 units. I won't go through it. This one, of course, we have to go through. And we'll try to, like, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright inspired earth sheltered home, nestled on 25 beautiful sun-drenched acres, walls of glass, sunrise and sunset rooms, granite Korean tile, Viking cooking top, steam shower, library, greenhouse, dumbwaiter, barn with fencing, workshop, heated garage space. All this stuff that isn't necessarily even in the photos, but there's so much more. I mean, you know, and this isn't even $1 million. I think this was like $775 or something. You know, so you really are living with, you know, depending on the number of people. This is someone's. How close is this to Denver? Like
45 minutes.
Like this to San Diego. 45 minutes for $650 a month. This is your home. Colorado people. You know, that's your view. All right, my favorite. This is the one I wanted to. So, have you ever dreamed about privacy so wonderful and a view so amazing that you didn't imagine existed? Surrounded by avocado groves, Rincon Indian caves, it's out of this world. The views are awesome. The most amazing Escondido purchased just this parcel, or purchased an additional 32 acres from the same seller with a lake, guest house, yurt. Additionally, another 188 acres are available. You can own the whole mountain and have complete privacy, and I'm talking like Escondido, 15 minutes that way, backed by 3,000 acres of lands, like a complete reserve. Yeah, I'm working on it. Or yours.
Yeah, Evo too.
And hiking, all right, all the trees. Exotic plants, fruit and nut trees, grapefruit, lemons, limes, oranges, mangoes, apples, persimmons, chamoya, peaches, bananas, figs, kumquats, loquats. This property is a home. This property is a home and spiritual retreat. Please come see this spectacular property. That's your view. You know, ladies and gentlemen, that is your view. This pad on the end, you know, is fully buildable, and you can have a whole other thing with that view. That's the house below it. This is the, you know, the pool, the main house. You know, and these are photos. I go through here and look at this, and I'm like, yeah, yours, that's yours. You know, you have this big, there's the center circle, you know, out with the view of everything. $1.2 million. And so to be a doer, to have this, to take the next step, you know, are you a doer? And how easy is it to be a doer? How easy is it to take the next step? Like, do you want this place?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does. All right.
Yeah, I'm in.
Come talk to me later. Do you want this place? So how easy is it to be a doer? So while you guys were in circles and communing during the first talk, I went outside, finally got a hold of the realtor. I was like, what's the deal on this property? Like, this is what I'm doing. These are the people I'm with. Like, will you carry the loan? She's like, here's the deal. Like, the guy who dreamed this and built it, he died. Like, the kids, they don't want anything to do with it. They don't want to pay taxes on it anymore. It's fully owned by them. We'll carry 25% of the loan. You know, like we'll work with this property is, the roads alone cost $2 million. The groves around it, this property doesn't just have this house. In speaking to her, she's like, no, there's just like that house. There's another 5,000 square foot house. There's another 2,000 square foot house. There's a bunch of mobile homes on there. There's room for RVs. And the rental income, the yearly rental income, I probably shouldn't be giving all this info, but I'm sharing the wealth. So how much are they making right now a year on this property? Throw out a number.
0.
No, they're making money. Like, there's rental for all the stuff they got going on there. How much is it? How much are they making? Huh? A year.
175.
That's it? $500,000 they make a year on this property. $1.2 million. $500,000 they make a year. Why? Because all the avocado, huge avocado grove, the rentals. Like, these opportunities are everywhere. It takes me 2 hours to find all that shit up the West Coast. You know what I mean? Like, I am not even diving into Colorado and all these other spaces. This is totally available to you, but it creates a doer. It creates somebody to walk out there and say, excuse me, I want this property and I'm ready. And I'm not, you know, you don't have to say, I don't know. You don't have to know how you're going to take the steps, but you need to just take some steps. And every step, trust, close your eyes and trust that the next step will be there for you. And if not, you'll find it. Yeah. The path will be there. Well, come talk to me. You know? Okay. I was waiting to give that. I was like, this is life-changing shit. I get you all on it. And I give it, and I want you to have it. I want you guys to be the neighbors. Tony Robbins! Go to the circle. There's massive cool stuff happening. Everybody, a little energy in the circle, and then music will start, and then we'll come back. It'll be dinner real soon. Just go to the circle. Let's like 15 minutes in the circle to close it out.